Piper, Terrett, are you out of breath?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
What
yeah.
happened?
Despite the fact I've been driving,
But you are out of breath, aren't you?
yeah, I am out of breath. Yeah,
What's the deal? What's
yeah.
happened?
Oh, nothing. I was just running late because we have got a diversion around our road, so they're sending. We all have to go the long
It's
way
not
round to get
Insulate
to
Britain,
school.
is it?
I don't know what it is. It's probably Thames Water. That's usually what it is.
Yeah.
It's usually that. So the road that we normally go down to take Stella to school is closed, and they're basically sending all the traffic down our road, and then we have to go up to a big roundabout and get up to school. And then, of course, we have a lovely level crossing as well, which I just got stuck behind because there was some weird, very strange-looking train that was from Sunderland, apparently, although it was coming from Hartford.
You'd think in this day and age they
Had a
would
big
have worked out the level crossing, because the answers are really easy. They're tunnels and bridges. And we've had them since
Yes,
Victorian
yeah.
times. And the fact that we still have level crossings, the thought of a level crossing torments me. I had a particularly bad.
Does
Not,
it?
I
Why?
mean, it sounds like I'm going to talk about a life-threatening situation. It wasn't like that at all, by the way. But it was it was not pleasant. I used to do the breakfast show at 2CR FM in Bournemouth, and I did the breakfast show with a bloke called
Yeah.
Richie Firth, who you can now hear on Absolute Radio. He's on in the afternoon. Anyway, me and Richie, we were there for one of the many. These things don't happen anymore, but it used to be when we had local radio that the local radio presenters would host an event in the town for the Christmas light switch on.
Oh, yeah, of
And
course.
these are particularly awful events for everyone
Really?
involved. Yes, because for everyone involved. In fact, I nearly got sacked from Bob FM for the Welwyn Garden City Christmas light switch on one year. I nearly got the sack. In fact,
Why? What'd you
if I
do?
hadn't written a letter of apology, I'll get to the level crossing thing in it.
Yeah,
I've never had a good experience with the Christmas light switched on. Never. I mean, usually it's cold. It's like November, December. It's freezing cold. It's damp. It's wet. It's horrible. And the front row is the people I used to describe as the dentally challenged. And I can't remember who it was that pointed out. It was a comedian, I forget which one. And he said, if you only had two teeth in your head, wouldn't you think they'd be the best looked after teeth in the world?
they
It's
never
not
are,
the,
though, are
it's
they?
not the
Really?
case. So you'd look down at this sea of people with bad teeth and anyway. And then there's families and kids and you have
Oh,
to
tell me
bring
about it.
on,
Yeah.
I mean, because let's face it, the people have showed up to watch lights being switched on. In most cases, lights that have been on in the town for a week anyway, but they turn them
Yeah.
off that afternoon to turn them back on again. I mean, it is a nothing event to start with. So in Welwyn Garden City, they had this, I was hosting the Christmas light switched on, so I'm guessing this is only about 4 years ago. Not long ago.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Oh, no.
5, because we didn't do it the following year because of this
Oh,
incident.
yeah.
And I was hosting the event, and part of it was introducing a series of acts who were willing to play for free, right? So you can imagine the standard. Now, I'd
Yes.
already hosted an event in the summer in Welwyn Garden City. I think it was a food fair or something. I don't know if they still have that. And the
Yeah,
acts
probably.
ranged from, well, there was a 60-year-old belly dancer who was so
Male or female?
female, who was so
Female. Okay.
so large in her belly dancing costume that the bra top that she had for the top of the thing, there was a chain of safety pins at the back to hold it together because she was too big for it. And it was
bless her.
it was wholly inappropriate for a family event anyway.
Yeah.
That was one
Yeah,
of the
it
acts.
does
And,
sound
and,
like
and
it,
the
yeah.
thing, I'd been there in the afternoon and it had dragged out and I'd got more and more worn down with the thing. And
The
each
belly
one of
had
these
dragged
acts.
out, or the event had dragged out?
What's that?
The belly had dragged out, or
A
the
bit of
event
both,
had
I think.
dragged out?
And the longer the event went, the worse the acts got.
Yeah.
Until there was some kids from I think there was some school or college or thing or whatever who didn't realize that one of the rules of show business is that you don't get to decide whether your act is any good. The audience do. And
Yes.
they were just dreadful, one after the other. There was a girl singer came on who held her iPhone and read the lyrics to the songs off her iPhone while she
Really?
sang. Yeah, and I'm like, my mind was, what kind of college is teaching people this is okay? I mean, that's okay if you're like 9 years old. The girl was about 17, If you're going to go to or maybe older than that, she's college. So if you're going to go to college to learn how to be an entertainer, you've got to teach them something. And surely this was one of the basics, is that you have to learn the lyrics to the damn song before you go on the stage and perform it. Anyway, so that had happened in the summer. I know I'm getting further away now from the level crossing, but I'll get there. So that happened in the summer. And so by the time the Christmas lights switch on came in the winter in One Garden City, right in front of the Howard Centre there, they've built like a stage. Oh, it's the main event of the year for the council. The council take it way too seriously. And that's the other thing with Christmas light switch-ons. They're always organised by the local council, who don't know how to put on an event. They know how to order more paper clips. They know how to, organise the staplers and manage budgets for, stationery supplies and that. They don't know how to put on a live show.
Flowers.
They don't know how to put on a live show, and they don't ask. You'd think some of the people who work at the radio station may have an idea about this kind of thing, may have done them in other cities around the world, this kind of thing, and seen all the pitfalls, or maybe even performed in a band for many years and know what will work in a show and what won't. You'd think that there would be some kind of consultation. No, these people from the council, they know everything, and then they book these acts and whatever. And so this thing was dragging on and on and on, and we're still nowhere near light switching on time. And the acts were worse than in the summer, to the point where some of these kids were being booed by families. I mean, booed.
No.
They were so bad. They were, it was not right for they were, hardcore rap and heavy metal and music that was these are for families. There's a light switch on for Christmas. Santa's there, Anyway, so one of these acts goes on. I think it was a 3 or 4 piece rock band who were beyond dreadful, and they'd done 3 songs and the crowd's booing and it's not going well. And I'm the host.
No.
So I thought, I'm going to save this. So after the 3rd song, I just walked out and said, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for whatever the name was. And ushered them off so we could just go back to playing records, playing CDs. The boss of Bob FM was the DJ, which didn't help. So at the event, so he goes back to that.
Oh, no.
So I thought that'll be better than this. Well, they were absolutely spewing backstage. How dare you bring us off? We had another 5 songs to go or something.
Another 5 songs,
or whatever. It might have been 5. It might have been 3. But if it was more than 1, it was still. If it was more than none, it would have been a problem. So anyway, I was so wound up and so tired. I'd done the breakfast show that morning. It's now, after 8 o'clock at night. I'm tired. I'm sleep deprived, and I basically told these kids why I brought, instead of saying, we're running short on time, which is what you normally say. I told them why I brought them off. I told them, because you were shite. Oh, but all hell broke loose. You're not supposed to tell the kids this. And my view was, this is the best education in entertainment these kids are going to get. Really, it's that, you don't get to decide whether you're any good. The audience does. There was death threats and all sorts. There was another event a few weeks later that I wasn't at, but Amy, who was on the air with me, was at, and they all showed up, these kids, looking for me to do me in. It was like,
really,
really heavy.
Death threats from Welling. My goodness.
Yeah, I had to send a letter of apology to the college, that I shouldn't have said that, and the boss made me do it. And I thought, I'll just do it because I didn't mean it. I'm not sorry. I think,
no, of course not.
Yeah. No. So that was Welling Garden City. But go back many years. Go back to when I was at 2CR FM. Richie and I hosted the breakfast show, and we hosted the Christmas light switch on. And as usual, it was organised by the council, and the council had done no proper planning at all. They didn't. No proper planning at all. So there was a time when the lights were supposed to be switched on, but we couldn't switch them on. And this is in Poole Town Centre in Dorset. We couldn't switch the lights on the stage until the lantern parade had arrived. Loads of kids holding sticks with lanterns on, singing carols flat. Until they had showed up and done this, they were all going to. This procession was going to. So we were in like this square. Have you been to Poole? Do you know the town at all? The town of Poole in Dorset.
No.
The town centre's weird. It's like one long pedestrianised street, and in the middle of the street, or going across the street, about halfway down, is the railway line that goes to Waterloo at one end and probably out to Devon and Cornwall the other end. A main railway line, not a busy railway line, and a level crossing right on the pedestrianised mall which goes down the middle of Poole High Street. That's what it is. So our stage was this side of the level crossing. And where are these kids going to come from? The other side of the level cross. They have to cross this lantern parade. Somebody planned it that the lantern parade has to cross a level crossing to get to the square area where we're on stage, right, doing this event. So they didn't book anywhere near enough acts, and they kept going, "Oh, go and fill for 20 minutes." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to say?" "Well, just fill." I said, "I don't fill. I don't have an act. I'm a radio DJ. I introduce things and talk to people on the phone." "Well, we can't get them to phone up. And if you give me stuff to introduce, I'll host it and say, coming up next, we've got this and whatever. You know, at a push, I'll do the weather and the time, because that's what I do on the radio. But I can't just go on a stage for 20 minutes unless I prepared something to do.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
I could see you go on the stage and just rant about.
Could rant, yeah. So, but anyway.
Well, those motorways. The special motorways,
smart motorways.
You hate them.
I could rant, but I would find myself ranting about the situation I found myself in on this cold, damp night in Poole, full of toothless wonders wanting a goodie bag and a sticker. Anyway, so
and it'd be like that scene in the Blues Brothers where they're in a cage.
It was always like that. That's exactly what it was like. It was always. There's so many times when I worked in local commercial radio at these events, it was pouring down with rain, and you're there for hours on end, and it always felt like the beginning of one of those movies where they show the bloke just before he snaps and his life changes. You know, he either gets fired and he goes and does something else, or the opening scene.
Falling down.
Yeah, I must have about 20 to 50 of those experiences that were my career in local radio. And they're the beginning of the movie, the setup for the movie. And this day in Poole was one of those. So we're there, and they're asking us to fill and something, whatever. And we've worked out what time they're going to come. And we've got to the point where Richie, I think he was doing a puppet show or something. Hand puppets is in mind, but he might not have even had any hand puppets. And he's just trying to keep this uninterested, bemused crowd waiting until it's time for the lights to switch on. And all the time we're like looking down, looking for this lantern parade to show up, and then suddenly we could hear the Christmas carols being sung in the wrong key to the music that was playing, and we're thinking, oh, here it comes, finally, we're out of here, this is it, salvation. And just as they come up, all the lights go flashing, the barriers come down, and the level crossing closes so the train can go by. So we stand there and as the express goes by on its way to Waterloo. Then we have to wait, and then ding, 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 and then the things and the barriers come up, and then the lantern, and then finally, so, the level crossing, no, as you can see, you've touched a nerve just by mentioning the words level and crossing. Not good.
Yes, no, it's not good. And I once, when I was learning to drive, stalled 5 times by a level crossing. And then the van, because I was so nervous, and I kept stalling even more. And then this white van driver shouted, "Get a move on, you old so and so."
Oh, and you were clearly on a driving lesson.
SL something G, yeah, I was.
So yeah, it was painted up as an instructor's car.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that is.
But to be fair, I mean, I have looking back, I have sympathy.
Right. You got to ask though, what kind of driving instructor takes a novice over a level crossing? That's going to freak somebody out. You know,
It's
because if you
true.
get that wrong, there's death involved. I know there's death involved in every time you go on the road, but a level crossing is a particularly scary thing for a novice driver who's terrified of everything anyway.
That's true, but I think in this case, the risk of death wasn't actually from the level crossing itself. I think it was more from the other drivers wanting to tear me apart.
So you were approaching the level crossing.
Well, we were waiting outside, waiting in the queue by the level crossing,
I see.
and I've got a horrible feeling that I stalled so many times that actually the traffic behind me couldn't move till it
Right.
went, and then it went down again.
Till the next train came.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Right. We've got to end the level crossing misery.
Yeah, we
and
have. It's too much about level crossing. Too much about level crossings. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Moving on. Moving on.
Yeah. You got a
Excuse
cold
me.
there.
No, but I had my flu jab on Saturday,
Was it free?
and it was, yeah,
Because it's so.
yeah.
What age is it now? I don't want to give too much away, but isn't it? People of a certain age get it for free.
People of a certain age, yeah. Well, people with asthma get it as well.
I see. Because I got a note and they've booked me an appointment. I normally have it, but I normally just pay for it. But I got a thing saying,
yeah.
you've got to go and get it at this time at this date. And I thought, well, how dare they tell me when I'm going to get it? And then I realized, oh, it's free.
Right.
Right. Because for the first time, because I'm over 50, so I get it for free.
Oh
Right.
no!
Yeah. I'm in a high risk group now. For
What
for
for
flu.
radio presenters and audio book narrators? It's very risky.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. I used to pay for it anyway. So
Sensible, isn't it? Really?
yeah, because
Yeah.
now I'm totally freelance. You know, if I was to be out of action for a week, that cost me a lot of money. So if someone's going to give me a jab that stops that happening, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what I think.
So is he happy being back at school now? Because you were homeschooling him through the pandemic.
Oh, well, only for a couple of months, thank goodness. It was hell. Yes, pretty much. I mean, he complains about it. Obviously, he'd rather be at home watching YouTube videos or
How
playing
old
with
is
the
he
dog.
now?
But, he is still 5, but he will be 6 in a matter of weeks.
All
In
right.
about 3 weeks.
So
Yeah.
you've got to get that right now, because at 6, he's now got
Oh.
all his schoolmates and everything. So is there a party involved?
There is, which is nice because he hasn't had a party for a couple of years. So, shush, Ralph. Ralphie's trying to get involved. Yes, so we are going to go to a trampolining place in Cheshunt
Yeah.
for a little party.
Yeah.
Party. Yeah. So you get sort of, it's 10 of them all together that can go. So it's got 9 mates.
Yeah.
But there's lots of hangers-on and siblings that are coming as well.
Of course. Yeah.
And then they all jump themselves silly on trampolines while the mums work very hard in the cafe over a steaming hot cappuccino watching.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
And then do you feed them afterwards? Because I don't know anything
Yes.
about parenting, but I'm guessing food and drink after the trampolining, not
Food and
before.
drink, very important. No, that would be a really bad idea. Yeah. There'd be a lot of cleaning up.
Yeah. All right. And then they just
Yes,
jump
so then
around. And so basically, it seems to me that a lot of parenting is involved in wearing the kids out enough so that they sleep well that night. Is that a lot of what it is?
It is certainly parenting it when the children are a certain age, and particularly it's a stereotype and it's sexist, but particularly with boys because they are just have so much energy.
Yeah.
It is, parenting on a hangover is not to be advised.
Right. I
Certainly
see.
not with
Well, that's your own silly
boys.
fault.
It's just how
If you know there's a big day coming up, like a major trampolining excursion, surely you've got to hit the booze. You've got to go cold turkey for like a couple of days before, haven't you? You've got to get into. You've got to be match
I'm
fit.
just
by the
talking
time
about
it's over.
any day with a small person around
Right.
that age.
Right.
When they wake you up yelling at you at 6 o'clock and possibly singing, because he goes to Church of England school. We've often been woken up by, "My God is a great big God" at 6 a.m. and other things like that. Or just
Right.
lots of questions about Minecraft and
Yeah.
and there's a lot of jumping about, and it's not to be. Yeah, you've got to be 100% to deal with that. Hence the flu jab, probably.
Right. I see. Yeah. You don't want to go down with that either. And what about Doug? How's he going? Did you both get through lockdown okay?
Yeah, we did. Well, today is a big day. ish, I suppose. Because I don't know if you know, but he had a crack at he's broken a Guinness World Record for the number of tomatoes on a tomato
Wait,
plant
no, I
truss.
did not know. I knew that he had what looked like world-class sunflowers that were higher than the
Yes.
house that he'd done, and you showed me those in one of our tube casts. But I didn't know
Oh,
he is
that's right.
now a world record holder.
I mean, it's not been verified because you have to
Okay,
pay a lot. Well, we have to send all the stuff off. You can get them to Guinness World Record people to come around, but it costs a bomb.
right.
Um, but we've done it ourselves. We have to get independent witnesses and horticulturalists and things. But so the record was 488 tomatoes on a truss. So it's like one branch on a tomato plant.
So is this how many
And
tomato plants is there?
just one plant
One.
and just one branch on the plant, so not the whole plant.
Wow. Okay, he's got over 400 on there.
So he got no, the record was 488. He got 859
What's
on the
his
previous
secret then?
plant.
Because you have to pee on tomato plants, don't you? That's
Not
true, isn't it?
necessarily, but
Isn't that
I think
true?
it can be used as a fertilizer. That's for sure. To be fair, I'm pretty sure the cat had peed in the greenhouse when we had the
See,
event.
because that could be an
But he's
argument.
doing another one.
That could be an argument for drinking. Is it helps with the tomato plants? Yeah,
What's that?
because it helps with the tomato plants.
I guess. I don't know. He does have a sort of lots of things that he does, like feeding them, and you have to trim it in a certain way so that it will grow. So there's one truss that's
Oh,
got
I
all
see. To
the
force it
tomatoes
all
on
onto
it.
the one thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and then stop it from the tomatoes from maturing too early because you want them all to be ready at the same time.
Okay, right. So they have the
But
maximum date.
he's having another crack at it today because he has a second plant that he thinks might have more on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, what will you do with all the tomatoes?
Um, I don't know. We might roast them. Although I roasted the last lot and I found that there were just too many seeds in them, which is
Right.
probably
Okay.
why they're good at growing lots of tomatoes. But
Could you make
yeah, we
something
might.
you could like loads of pasta sauce or something you could store in jars or something? Well, vats if you've got that many.
Yeah, I mean that's normally what we do is we'd roast them and store them in the freezer
Right.
in like Ziploc bags or something like that. But
So is that
yeah,
all happening today?
it's happening this afternoon again. The weather is awful at the moment. It's
Yes.
supposed to stop raining.
Yeah.
We've got the local vicar coming round again because Reverend Sarah, she did in Stansted Abbots. She was a witness last time.
So the vicar is a
Last time,
witness.
the vicar is a witness. Yes, because we have to have independent witnesses, two independent witnesses, local people of standing. So not any old riffraff.
I wouldn't call a religious leader someone who's independent because clearly they've got an agenda. You know what I mean? Because he's going to claim
I
that
think it helps.
he's going to take all of Doug's work and go, yeah, isn't God wonderful? And Doug's going to go, hang on a minute. Sorry, she's the vicar. So
She is also a doctor as well.
She's a doctor.
She was a doctor before she came.
So she has a high standing in the community. I get it.
She
Right.
does, and she's lovely. She does
Yeah.
have a high standing in the community as well. Yeah. So there was her. Last time we also had PC Charlie Herod and one of her colleagues, who is basically the mums mafia. So that both these ladies are mums at school, where Stellan goes. But so we had the police round last time, all in their gear. But unfortunately, this time they weren't able to make it. So we've got the chairman of the Stansted Abbots Parish Council coming.
Right.
Mike. Yeah.
Well, the pressure's on you then, because is the public going to show up and the press?
No, it's not. No.
I see.
I mean, it has been in the previous effort did get to the Sun actually.
Oh, really? So this is just for the verification purposes.
No, this is just to have the witnesses. Yeah.
Yes, I see. To have the number verified, counted, and who's doing the counting then?
Well, Matt Oliver, who is a horticulturalist at RHS Hyde Hall and a mate of Doug's, because they both grew. You remember Doug grew his massive pumpkin Well, Matt
Yes.
has the UK record for the biggest outdoor grown pumpkin.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Oh, right. That's very
yeah,
specific. Don't get that confused with
yes.
the greenhouse
No,
grown
because the
pumpkin.
Patton brothers in Southampton currently hold the
All right.
UK
And they'd be
record for the indoor grown.
right.
I only know this because Doug reminded me last night. You know, you can imagine the exciting romantic conversations that we have over the
Yes.
dinner table.
But at least
Um,
you know where you stand with the records.
exactly. But don't ask me about any others. But yeah, Matt is coming. He's very kindly because it's a bit of a, it's a bit of
He's actually coming from
respect.
Southampton. Wow.
No, from Hyde Hall in Essex. So he's coming
Oh,
over.
okay, right. No, the Southampton one
Yeah,
was the indoor grown one. See, I'm already
it's
confused.
indoor room. I'm not surprised.
I
Would
can't.
be. It's confusing.
I'm still. So that the lady vicar is coming.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
brought.
Sarah,
And
Reverend
I
Sarah is coming.
apologise. I apologise because it has brought back another horrible memory of a radio
Oh
event
yeah.
with a vicar.
Oh, go on. Tell me. With the vicar. Oh.
With a vicar, there is video evidence of this one. It was filmed for a TV show. This one.
Another TV show.
And this TV show, this part of the TV show, it was cut out. However, back when you could buy VHS, but I'm sure it's now on DVD, the VHS version left it in. But the broadcast version on TV, they took it out.
Really?
This is once again at 2CR-FM, which was in Dorset, breakfast show. And there's an ape rescue centre down there called Monkey World. And there's
Monkey World.
You know it?
Yeah.
There's a TV.
No, I've never been, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
There's a TV show it's now called Monkey Life. It used to be called Monkey Business when a different mob made it. That it changed over. Now, I got on really, really well with Jim Cronin and Jim and Alison Cronin, who ran Monkey World, where they rescued these apes from, photographers beach chimps and out of laboratories and whatever, and they give them a decent life in this sanctuary. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great place, just magical place. Anyway, so the radio show adopted one of the apes, one of the chimps, a chimp called Charlie. Yeah. So we were doing an outside broadcast from Monkey World one day, and Jim suddenly comes out. He's from New York, Jim, and he's got his plans, and he goes, "We need to build Charlie a house." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we'll build Charlie a house for you." So on the air, we did like an Ask Annika thing, and we managed to find all the tradespeople and the materials needed to build this huge, state-of-the-art ape house.
That's
right.
Cool.
In fact, my name is on it, on the outside of it. It's still got.
Really?
When you go to Monkey World today, it says Graham Mack and 2CR, Morning Crew, all that. Raise the money, and they got their listeners together to do the brickwork and the plumbers and the electricians and everything to build this thing and it was a great running story on the air. So of course. Yeah. Months later, when the thing is having its official opening, we do another live show from there, and it obviously coincides with when the TV show that it takes you behind the scenes at Monkey World is making one of their shows. And Chris Searle was the narrator. Do you remember him from That's Life? He was
yes.
Yeah, so he's the narrator. And he's like, and now it's time to dedicate the house or whatever. And so they get this local vicar in, and he does this blessing for Charlie's house, right? and I'm live on the air, and in my mind all the time is, we've got to get people listening to this breakfast show, and this blinking vicar has just done his thing, and I really can't see that being compelling. And so my mind clicks into, how can I save this? Because if I just go, oh, that's great, let's hear it for the vicar. Yeah, well, we're here at Monkey World. It's Charlie's house. What are you going to do? Radio's got to be compelling every second of every broadcast.
Yeah, that's true.
So I said, well, thank you very much. I said, and that was the blessing by the Anglican vicar. Now, don't worry, we're going to show that we're multi-denominational here. Later on today, we're going to have a Catholic priest show up, and he's going to sprinkle some holy water on the house. And then a rabbi is going to come, and he's going to cut 2 inches off the drain pipe.
Oh, God!
And that went out live on the air. Now, of course, Bournemouth. Bournemouth is twinned with a town in Israel. Bournemouth's got a big Jewish community. And so
Okay.
it did cause a few a
Oh
few
no.
issues. And when it went on the TV, they cut that bit out. But I
Yeah.
went and I bought the video when I was at Monkey World at another time. I bought the video box set of that season, and and in that one they left it in. So
Oh,
I'm
excellent.
guessing. So I've put it on YouTube actually. If you that particular clip of me saying that
Oh,
is I've put it on YouTube.
to dig
So yeah. So that just reminded me when you said you got a vicar coming round. So you could steal that joke if you like
I could. I
today.
could.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend it.
No,
But if you
no,
want,
probably not.
if you want people to talk about, they could work, for talkability.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah. I bet these days if that had happened like today. I mean, this was way back in
Yeah,
like 1997. I reckon if that happened today, that would make tabloid news.
I think it probably
Which
would.
just proves I was ahead of my time.
You were definitely ahead of your time. I thought you were going to get into a big discussion about, creationism or something, but being as
No,
it's
I'm
an
not.
apes house and, Darwin and all that.
Yeah, he's on shaky ground there, isn't he? If he wants to,
Very shaky.
if he wants to preach creationism
Yeah,
in a place where they have primates, I really can't see
absolutely.
that going down well.
So
No.
did Charlie, what I want to know is, did
Yeah.
Charlie ever actually appear on the show in
Only
person?
only when we went to Monkey World.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jim used to let us in like the back area, and we could put microphones up, and we'd you'd
Ah,
hear Charlie saying stuff.
yeah.
It was a
And
fabulous.
did he put any requests or anything?
No, he didn't.
No.
But he had a really sad story because he was a
Oh,
photographer's beach chimp in Spain, where they rescued
really?
him, and they'd had him addicted to Valium, and they'd knocked
Oh,
all
to
his
keep him calm.
keep him calm, and they'd knocked all his
Oh.
teeth out so he would because he'd bite the tourists. It was just an awful life that they
I think
rescued
I'd
him
bite the
from.
tourist if I had to do a job like
I
that.
know, but that was it. And then they had another Charlie from Turkey, which had a similar background. And but Alison now, because Jim died in about 2000 and I hope I get the year. I know the date was the 17th
Yeah.
of March, but it's about 2006. I'm gonna say I got to speak at his memorial. He was an amazing guy. He was such a hustler. Just made stuff happen. And Alison's a doctor,
Yeah.
and she
Ah.
yeah, a doctor of like zoology or something. She
Oh,
knows her
right.
stuff,
Okay.
and she
Yeah.
carried on, and it's gone from strength to strength. And hopefully they've made it through the pandemic because it really is an important place, Monkey World, and it's known
Sounds
throughout the
like it.
world. They do stuff in Vietnam, and they were this latest law that came in. I don't know if you know about this a few months
Hmm.
back that they changed the rules on the pet trade in Britain on because there was
Hmm.
no law that stopped you owning a monkey in Britain. You could put a monkey in a birdcage on top of your
Yes, I
TV and
remember
people
hearing
did.
about this.
Yeah,
It's
well
just
Alison
ludicrous.
was one of the and Jim previously who got that helped get that through and the awareness of that. So they do
Hmm.
amazing work down there. So it was great to be a part
Hmm.
of it and
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not the same as 800 tomatoes on a tomato plant. It's not the same.
Well, I think it kind of beats 800 tomatoes on a plant. Don't tell Doug that I
No,
said
but
that
the
though.
thing is, though, you're directly involved with the creator of the tomato plant, right?
I
Okay, being the
suppose.
spouse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
My only connection to Monkey World really is that I'm a fan of Monkey World and what they do, and I've
Yeah.
been on the telly show a little bit to help raise awareness of them, but I'm not really
Your
involved.
name's on Charlie's house.
But I'm not in the cage digging out the poop. I'm not involved.
No,
Where
that's true.
you with the tomato thing, this would have been part of your life for a long time.
It's true. I had to order sandwiches and everything.
There you go. There you go. You'll be able to say more tea, Vicar.
I'm desperate to say that too. I am. And I don't know why I haven't, because because she's one of the mums, and Reverend Sarah's one of the mums, she's very chatty. We often go and have a cup of tea at the
Right.
local cafe after school drop off, before we start work. So I really should have used that line. I don't know why I haven't.
Yeah. I mean,
Poor planning on my part.
obviously that there is a time to use it for maximum comedic effect, but you can't
Yes.
guarantee that will happen unless you feed her a lot of
No.
beans or something first.
No,
So then
that's true.
but you've still got to use it.
We've got to use that. That's absolutely
Got to
true.
use it. And
Yes.
isn't the follow-up more Battenberg? Isn't it? Isn't it?
Is it?
No, isn't the... I don't know, maybe I've got this wrong. A mate of mine used to do this thing, and I thought he'd nicked it from somewhere, but maybe it's his. But he goes, the vicar farts, and then the host goes, more tea, vicar, and the vicar goes, and he goes, more Battenberg, and he says, no thanks, it makes you fart. But I don't know whether that's the rest of the joke, and the more tea, vicar is just part of it, or whether it's not even closely related. I don't know.
No. I don't know. I'll have to Google that.
Yeah, but you make sure you've got it locked and loaded in case the vicar farts.
Yes.
Because you've got to swoop straight in then.
Absolutely.
You can't miss that opportunity.
No, definitely not.
So what else is going on? Have you got petrol?
Mercifully, I actually filled the tank. I was almost out. I filled up just before this all kicked off. I think I filled up on Thursday night, and then everything's gone mad. Oh, yeah, no, not really. I just let it nearly run out, which thank goodness I didn't. So yeah.
Right. So you're going to learn to drive a truck?
Oh God, no. I would hit everything. Yeah. I'm quite good at hitting things in a Nissan Note. So give me a truck. Oh wow. I could hit everything.
I think going forward would probably be okay, but reversing an articulated lorry, that is a skill. I mean, I once had a trailer on the back of a Fiat once and tried to back it round the corner, and not a chance. Not a chance.
Can you actually get a trailer on a Fiat? What kind of Fiat was it?
It was a Fiat 132.
Okay.
Mussolini's Revenge. I made a big mistake when we lived in New Zealand. I owned a European car, which you should never do, because if you need a part for it, it has to come halfway around the world, and it's expensive. I mean, it was over 200 New Zealand dollars just for a thermostat, which went on it once.
Really?
Yeah, it was a dreadful car. And so I had that when I was in the band, and we were going to do some gigs up north, and we wanted to take a lot of kit up there. And someone had a trailer, and I said, well, there's a tow bar on the back of my Fiat, which was only a 1600. It probably wasn't towing. And that was the time we put a trailer on the Fiat, but no, not recommended. I think modern Fiats are probably much better than the 1974 Fiat that I was driving in 1988, probably I'm talking about now. So, no, it just rusted away. They just huge holes. And I used to fill them up. I was working at an oil refinery at the time, and we used to have silicon sealer in these big caulking guns. This thing was rusting away so quickly. Whenever a new hole appeared, I just filled it with silicon, just as it was watertight. You just couldn't keep up with it. It was just rusted. Oh, it was so bad. Terrible car. Yeah, I've never owned a Fiat since, but I'm sure the modern ones are fine.
Oh, probably. Yeah. No, I've never driven anything bigger than a Qashqai. I don't think really.
Right, because the driving jobs you're hearing about now, the money that they're paying to drive. Oh yeah, they're on about.
Is it good?
Supposedly, well, supply and demand, isn't it? If they can't get the drivers,
that's true.
That's what they're doing. No. I don't know what's called now. Obviously, because I was against Brexit, I think it's got something to do with Brexit. But they're talking it was all sorts of things, including the HMRC, which were clamping down on people as whether they were freelance or not, whether they were employed. Yeah, the IR35, exactly. Because I had that last time I worked for the BBC and had to change the way I was paid. Yeah, they went for the BBC early. They reckon they're going to do commercial radio next, but they went to BBC first because they're public broadcaster. So
easy target.
Yeah, and that actually was one of the reasons why I decided to quit at Radio Merseyside, because I couldn't, because I was only doing a weekend show, but I was driving up from Hertfordshire every week. And I was, when I first did it, I'd check into a motel and I'd claim all my petrol and the travel lodge and everything. But then when they changed it
Yeah.
and you couldn't claim it, it was like, hang on, this isn't worth it now. It was one of the reasons I packed that in.
Doing.
So I can see why,
Was
if
it?
you were a truck driver in a similar situation, you've got all your deductions and all the rest of it, and then all of a sudden you haven't, you're like, well, I'm going to pack this in and do something else. If you wanted to be freelance, I could see that going that way. So I don't know if that's totally to blame, and Brexit's got a bit to do with it, and then they've got the pandemic card they can play. Anything to.
Well, I think I was reading something about a Norfolk haulier, and they were basically saying that people don't want to do the job because it's too hard work. It's long hours. You're away from your family often for a week. People,
Right.
sleeping in the truck on the motorway, and it's rough, isn't it? Really, it's and then of course, because of Brexit, they can't get the foreign drivers.
Yeah.
So
the thing that'd be good about it, if you don't like working with people, it could work out really well because you're on your own a lot. Well, let's face it. The office environment it's not exactly a comfortable environment. I worked. Don't get me wrong. I worked when I worked on a construction site in New Zealand for 3 years. I liked the environment of working with lots of people, lots of different nationalities. Yeah, but then when I started working in radio, and you're in that office environment when there's salespeople and all that, and it all just seems so phony to me. And these things that were such artificial things that were really important, it was like they were not important.
Artificial incentives. We've got to do this, and you win a bottle of champagne if you do that, or that kind of
bloody secret Santa and. Just awful. So I can understand if you want to be a truck driver, you just give me the truck, tell me where it needs to go, I'll get in it, and when I get there, I get there. I get that. I think that part of it, I think, would appeal to me. Because like now, I don't interact with anyone. I work from home. Julie goes to work, and I stay here and do 2 radio shows and produce audio books, and it's so much fun. Guess how many audiobooks I've done now?
No idea. How many, Graham?
I have 81 on sale.
Goodness me.
81 on sale. I'm working on my 92nd one at the moment. I'm working on 7 at the moment, but one of them is my 92nd because there's a few not on sale yet, and there's a 7 I'm working on. But I've got 82 on sale at Audible, iTunes, and Amazon. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's just going great.
Well, if we're not rich and famous like you, I've got to go to work in a minute.
What time?
I'm supposed to be at work now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you?
As of 2 minutes ago.
So we've got to let you go. Well, you should quickly plug the podcast though.
Definitely. Oh yes. The local lowdown on happeninghearts.com. We just started it up again. We had a bit of a break over the summer, but so find out more. Visit happeninghearts.com/blog. Find out more about the podcast.
Piper Terrett, always good to catch up.
Great to catch up.
Best of luck with Doug and the Guinness Book of Records and the tomatoes.
Oh, fingers crossed. Thank you.
Cheers, Piper.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks, Graham.
Bye.
Bye.